So based on causes, so how the inflation is being caused, we have three types of inflation, basically two. The third one is the consequence of these two. We have demand pull inflation, we have cost push inflation. Okay, you use the word demand pull, the cost is pushing. Okay, so cost pushes from the bottom, right? Demand will pull from above, so that is pull and push. Okay, demand is something where when a particular supply is available, okay, the supply is available, say 100, but the demand is 120, all of a sudden 140, all of a sudden 150, 200. Okay, that we call it as demand pull inflation. So number of people asking for that product is increasing, then we call it as demand pull inflation, right? Cost push inflation is because of factor cost. Cost here is factor cost. When factor cost prices increases, land cost, okay, so increases, then we call it as production cost is increasing. When production cost is increasing, it results in cost push inflation. Clear? Say for example, petrol or diesel, cost push inflation is there. Production cost is increasing, so I start increasing the fuel prices. Electric charges, okay, so EV charges, production cost is increasing, I just push it up. We call this as, what do you call? Cost push inflation. Clear? So this is how it is. Then we have built-in inflation. Built-in inflation is something, because of demand pull or cost push, already there would have been inflation. Okay, that inflation will be carried forward for a long period of time. Okay, because of expectations of the people, that we call it as built-in inflation. Say for example, because of COVID, inflation would have been higher, right? And we believe that, okay, anyway inflation is higher, tomorrow even more will be there, so persistent will be there, persistent price rise will be there, that we call this built-in inflation. Okay, understood? Say for example, you have scenarios like government expenditure on social welfare increases 2 times, that is, it is doubled. What type of inflation you will get?
Demand pull inflation, sir.
Okay, why?
Because people demand more. When they have money, they can demand goods.
Okay. Fiscal deficit increases and borrowing of the government increases. What type of inflation it will bring in?
Cost push.
Cost push.
Inflation. Yes, sir.
Really? So this is also demand pull. Okay. So here the government expenditure increases. Why government is borrowing? Because government expenditure is increasing, right? So when government expenditure is increasing, automatically the demand pull inflation will increase, because there will be more money flowing into the market. So when more money is chasing too few goods, then it is demand pull. Okay.
Yes.
So less money, more money chasing less few goods, then we call it as demand pull.
Demand push. Yes.
Demand pull. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Now, what happens? Employment increases. Okay. Employment rate increases in India. What type of inflation will happen?
Demand pull, sir.
Demand pull, because yesterday only 10 people were employed, today 20 people will be employed. Okay.
Yes, sir.
For these employees, I increase the wages. What type of inflation will happen?
Demand pull, sir.
When I increase the wages of these employees, what will happen? It will be cost push. Why? Because wages is a factor cost. Okay. Remember, when I increase a wage, definitely my factor cost is increasing, cost of production is increasing. When I increase my salary or wage, it doesn't mean that it should directly convert into demand pull inflation. Say, for example, I may consume 4 idlis daily. Just because I am earning 20,000 rupees per month, I may not increase it to 5 idlis or 6 idlis. I may change the product. Understood?
Yes, sir.
But I may not increase the demand of that particular product. Okay. So
yes, yes,
it
sir.
may happen, it may not happen. So, but since it is wage, definitely this is going to happen. Understood?
Yes, sir.
Clear? Others?
Yes, sir.
Any doubt
So
in this?
does it mean that in cost push inflation, demand does not play any role?
Say in cost push inflation, the very idea of the inflation is just because whether you have demand or not, irrespective of the demand or not, the cost of the factor cost has increased, the price of the factor cost has increased, so you are increasing the price of the product. Okay. Say for example, I am producing 100 goods. Only 100 goods are demanded. Okay, or say 105 goods are demanded. Today also I produce only 100 goods and the demand is 105, but the cost of production of 100 is here is 100 rupees, here it is 200 rupees. Understood? This is inflation. Why? Because my factor cost has increased. Understood?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Otherwise, the second scenario is that there may be increase in demand also. Okay. There may be increase in factor cost also. So there may be both demand and cost push. It can be both. But here, when I say wage, so you need to understand what they are increasing. What is the purpose of it? Accordingly, the inflation will be affected. Whether the cost push, that is what I took wage. Today I am increasing the wage. It doesn't mean that there will not be any demand. Because what you will do with the wage? You will spend, right? But it can happen, it cannot happen. Understood? But definitely that product wage, since the wage rise is there, that product cost is going to increase. Understood? That
Yes,
is
sir.
certainly it is going to happen. That is the difference between how we perceive. Okay.
Okay. Yes, sir.
So this is the idea what it is. Even in this scenario, when government expenditure is increasing and you are increasing the skill of the labor, now the labor may charge you more. Previously, since I am not skilled, I may charge only 500. Now I am skilled, I may charge 1000. That means the wage is doubled. That also can result in cost push. But whether it will happen or not, we don't know. But definitely demand pull will happen. Understood? Because the expenditure is on the social welfare. Understood? So which is definite, you take it for sure. Which is not definite, you cannot have a definite aspect there, so you just leave it. Clear? That is how we need to understand. Okay. Now there are some words which are there with related to inflation. You can come across like types of inflation. Here it is terms of inflation. Headline inflation. Headline inflation means headline. So top, everything included. Okay, that we call it as headline. All types of goods, all type values of goods, everything. Whereas if you call core inflation, okay, this is also called as real time inflation or headline inflation. Core inflation is no food, no fuel. That we call it as core inflation. Okay, inflation can have food inflation, fuel inflation, and other inflation. Just remove food, remove fuel. Remaining what are there? Manufacturing, other aspects. That we call it as core inflation. Okay. In monetary policy, they say you have to take core inflation in target. You should not react to headline inflation. Okay, that is one saying, one advice what they provide. Why? Because say food price is increasing, RBI cannot do anything. Understand? Why? Because why food price is increasing? Either agriculture produce is falling down or supply is not there. Something issue is there. Agriculture, some food is not being delivered to you. Okay. For which RBI is not a reason. Understood or not? For agriculture not providing you food, RBI is not a reason. There are many other factors. Right? So you don't get food, so food prices increases. Clear? Now, when food prices are increasing, going up, and up, and RBI and oil prices increasing, going up, so that fuel prices are increasing, right? For both, RBI cannot do anything. Understand? Because RBI is not controlling any of these factors. True or not? Got it? But you ask RBI to increase the rate of interest so that the market will not have available credit, so that the people will not have money, so the inflation will be controlled. How it will be controlled? It will not be controlled, because manufacturing inflation, which is called as core inflation, say for example, food inflation and fuel inflation is 10%, whereas core inflation is only 5%. That means there is no inflation in the manufacturing sector. What happens? Just because you have certain policies of RBI, credit is controlled, you kill manufacturing. That means growth is not going to happen. Understood? So RBI should control credit or monetary and credit only when core inflation is higher. Rather, for food and fuel, Government of India and the states have to take up steps. Understood? If you don't have rice in India, what RBI can do? RBI cannot do anything. Just because RBI gives you money, you will have more rice over. No. What the Government of India or the states will do, they try to import more rice. They try to ration it more. They try to make it available, or they try to break the supply hindrances, so to make the supply chain better. RBI cannot come and provide supply chain for agriculture or oil. Understood? So this is a fundamental flaw what we have in the economy in addressing inflation. For protein inflation means inflation which is based on milk, meat products, eggs, milk, meat, and other stuff. Imported inflation means you just import more, so you have more more demand for goods. You have import more, so for that reason you have general prices. Because you imported, the product rate is higher, so the product rate increases. That is imported inflation. So whether it is protein inflation, food inflation, fuel inflation, imported inflation, RBI cannot have any role in that, right? At least RBI will have only minimal role to play. Even if it is not no role to play, they are going to have only minimal role to play. Who has to play more? Government of India has to play more. The government of the states have to play more, where they can control the price. Understood? For which the RBI, when monetary policy, when the repo rates are changed, just because you have agriculture product pricing increases, how you will do it? It's not there. At least SEBI can take some steps, say some ban or prohibition on commodity trading, securities, and so on, which can ease out market, okay, for commodities. RBI cannot do anything, but we pressurize RBI to do something, okay. So RBI tries to control credit, where the manufacturing actually wants credit. At the time, there won't be any credit, okay. Or if the credit is going to be there, it will be of high cost. Just because agriculture didn't supply you food, manufacturer has to buy a cost, that is, buy a loan at a very high cost, right? How it will be? Really, it is foolish, right? But we are doing this for a time immemorial. At least we understood that, and we slowly started to change. When Y.V. Reddy was there, when Raghuram Rajan was there, they started rethinking, and they said, "Say, this is a process. This is a problem. So we should not think inflation as a whole sum. We should think inflation in various other matters. That is the reason why we reformed the WPI, CPI, we changed the profile, we got required information, and RBI started reacting in this particular way. Clear? Now slowly we are getting into the track of full intellectual aspect of understanding inflation and providing some necessary changes. But still, RBI has to look around various other options, how to tackle it, and the government of India and the states have to do for these food and fuel inflation, how to handle it. Clear? Then sticky inflation. Say simple oil price rise. You can see as of now, oil fuel inflation is very high. Why? Whether it is because of high money or whether high taxes. It is because of high taxes. Instead of reducing taxes, you ask RBI to reduce the, increase the interest payment, which will really hurt the growth. Naturally, India's growth will be hurt. That's the problem. What is exactly happening, right? So, government of India has to control the thing where they have to reduce the taxes. Thereby, it will ease out fuel inflation. As simple as it is. Clear? When they ease out the taxes on food, the food inflation will come. That's a logic what it happens. But anyway, this is a problem what it happens. So sticky inflation is a inflation where the prices that are slow to change, even when global prices come down. So even when the prices come down, the prices in domestic area will not come down as quick as possible. Okay, so you can see that we call it a sticky inflation. Say WPI will fall down, but CPI will be still. In the market, tomatoes will be 100 rupees, but still in the consumer forum, you will be having 150, 200 likewise. Okay, the global prices will come down, but still your prices will not come down. So that we call it as sticky inflation. So these are some of the terms which you need to know in terms of inflation. Yeah, understood?